In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well 'cause it's bed hopping time. Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Thank you for joining us today. This is episode 164. Ooh, it's not a particularly special number, but, you know, we're pleased about it nonetheless.
Yes.
Yes, we've reached it. Hurrah. So first things first, before we go any further, quick update. The Winter Wonderland that we mentioned last episode, the wonderful hotel takeover event that we're doing with penthouse playrooms and all this kind of stuff.
Journey to Narnia
with the Wonderless Swingers, Kate and Daryl. We are 50% sold out already.
Might be more by now.
But
it was 50% when we looked.
When we last looked, and it's going up all the time, which is amazing. So if you've bought tickets, thank you very much. If you haven't got tickets yet and you're looking and you're looking to go, we'd urge you to grab your tickets as soon as you can, because this theme seems to be going really, really well.
Yeah.
What I would say is if you're curious about it, if you've got questions, if you're interested, if you're sat on the fence and you need a bit more information, don't be shy in reaching out. Chuck us an email, chuck us a tweet or an X
chuck
or whatever.
You one,
chuck me one
it's
or a
unlikely
fab
I'll
message.
reply.
Yeah, or whatever. But very happy to chat you through what it's like, how it works. I think this is, you know, we said this last time around, one of the best events that we're going to run. And I think it's got everything. It's got the pre-event Zooms. It's got the chat in advance, like 6 weeks out. It's
got a hotel takeover.
It's got a hotel takeover. It's got pre-parties. If you're going a day early, there's pre-parties. There's a room crawl. There's a hotel stay with a bunch of amazing swingers. And then there's a club takeover with just our lot.
Question.
Yes, Mrs. H. Yeah.
Mrs. H from Southampton. Will there be a post-party and a post-post party and maybe a post-post-post party?
There is always a post-party, but that may happen months later. You don't get that included.
But there might be a hungover breakfast.
There might be a hungover breakfast. That absolutely
Is that like
can happen.
A wedding breakfast?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had the breakfast at this hotel before. It's great. We enjoyed it muchly. I mean, it's your standard hotel breakfast.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have breakfast next day with everyone.
Oh, I love that when everyone's coming downstairs, everyone's looking a bit hungover, a bit sorry for themselves, or like
or pleased,
and you know,
spent.
Walk of shame.
Oh yeah.
But I love that bit. So yeah, if you're thinking about coming along, give us a shout. Pick up your tickets, and if you're not sure about it, again, ask us any questions. As we said last time around, there are going to be a very, very limited number of event-only tickets. Now, these don't include any of the really cool stuff. Oh, I didn't mention the goodie bag that you do get with your extra tickets.
It's going to be a goodie bag.
Exactly. But
maybe I should add Turkish delight this time.
Because
that's like Narnia, isn't it?
Oh, okay, maybe. Maybe you should have a tray of that for people that are going to the pre-party.
Yeah, maybe. And I could sit on like a chariot, like an ice chariot.
I don't know what you think our budget is, but it ain't that. It really ain't that. But anyways, that's my main thought around the Winter Wonderland. 50% sold out. If you want to come along, grab your tickets. Now, since we last spoke to you, gentle listeners, a huge event has occurred.
Oh, talking of numbers,
milestone event for Mrs. H.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that you turned 50, right?
I did. I became quintastic.
Quintastic. Well, you've always been quimtastic, and now you're quintastic.
Yes, I am.
So
I'm alive.
The night before this happened,
Chris Pratt in your face.
You want to be in Chris Pratt's face?
I'd consider it, but it's not my go-to.
Is he only a link to Goldblum? Is that?
Oh,
yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, so the night before, it was due to turn midnight, and when it struck midnight, you were quite sad. You were a bit sad, weren't you?
I kept going around the house like, this is my last shower of my 40s. And then you were last meal of my 40s.
Very quickly, this is my first sex of my 50s, and this is my first orgasm of my 50s, and this is my first sleep of my 50s, and my first coffee of my 50s.
It grew old quite quick, didn't it?
It did.
This is my first bacon sandwich of my 50s.
It did get old rather quickly.
Like me.
Like you. However, it was beautiful, like you, because we were able to celebrate in absolute style.
Oh, I know we're not going to bore everyone with my birthday because, not everyone came to my birthday, but I've got some highlights.
You got some highlights?
Yes.
Okay, give us some highlights and then we'll go on to the main thing of this episode.
The murder hornets.
Well, hang on. You've got to give people some context.
That's a good lead-in, right?
Murder hornets.
Because now everyone's going to know what the actual...
Hang on. Just let's start this in chronological order, right?
Oh, I thought you just wanted highlights.
Oh, yes, that's why I'm going to do it this way. So you got a bunch of presents from me and work decorated your desk beautifully and that was really cool.
Everyone made me feel very special.
Very special.
As I am.
And then you had a surprise on the Thursday night, which is your birthday.
Oh, yes.
And I drove you in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds really sinister to finish me off.
Yeah, to let you out on a field and you're free, girl, run free. And you just looked up at the moon and howled, bless you, as I drove away.
You drove me to a really beautiful, quaint little sort of hotel pub.
Boutique-y pub kind of thing. And you were a bit sort of like, oh, this is nice, but it wouldn't be a normal Mr. H pick, right?
You would have gone with well urban shit.
Well urban and I.
With neon and gadgets.
Sound like down with the kids and stuff.
I was like, this is gorgeous.
It was really, really pretty. And while you were getting changed, what happened?
Oh, there was a knock on the door.
And what?
And I assumed that it might be maybe, I don't know, one of the hotel staff with a pre-drink or something because we were going to dinner in about 20 minutes. And so I opened and you were like, oh, you open the door because I'm busy pruning your beard or whatever you're doing. I don't know. Polishing your nose. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, I opened the door and oh my God, it was Kate and Daryl.
There you go.
From Wanderlust.
You were absolutely shocked. And they'd organised this and they'd sorted it all out as a birthday present.
Because I knew I was going to see them on that weekend anyway for my birthday. But they arrived a day early and surprised me.
Fabulous, right?
And then we all had dinner together.
And it was lovely.
It was fucking lovely.
Really fucking wonderful.
Oh, and then we sat out in a little garden with little twinkly lights and it was just lush.
So moving quickly onwards to the next day, right?
Yeah. Then we went to a cider distillery.
We went to a cider place and that was amazing. It was up a little hill. It was an amazing tree. It looked like the tree from Up.
Oh, I'm so glad we did that walk.
It was beautiful.
In fact, we're drinking some of the spoils of our cider distillery tour now.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Ice wine.
And then we did a VR game. We did
a
VR
horror escape room.
Yep.
That was VR. And I was shit at that. But I enjoyed it.
we beat the thing, but with like a minute and 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, I got slashed.
You got slashed. Well, it was good. It was good fun.
It was
not
really
the slashing.
good. Yeah.
Then a whole bunch of us assembled in an Airbnb type thing that we'd organised.
Beautiful, huge house with a hot tub and a pool and lovely things.
Like the hottest days of the year.
Yeah,
and we were surrounded by
hurrah, wasn't it?
10 of our best friends in the whole wide world, all there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there were other best friends, but, 10 of them.
Yeah.
In a lovely Airbnb, in a pool, and then we chilled out.
We had wine and cheese and all my favourite things.
And then there was the attack of the murder hornets.
Oh, my goodness. Right, these murder hornets. So we were just minding our own business, hanging out as you do, in this lush house.
Bear in mind, it's fucking baking, so all the windows and doors are open.
Yeah, well, the first thing we did when we got there was go around and open every single window. It was hot as balls in there. And then it got to about dusk type of time. So when the sun was starting to go down a little bit.
That would be dusk.
Yeah, thank you. And then we saw like one or two like giant waspy things. Hornets, if you will. But then there were more.
Then there were a whole fucking ton of them.
Then there were like loads of them, but they weren't just big hornets. They were fucking ginormous, murderous hornets. I'd never seen the like of them. And they were as big as, I don't know,
they were a good
my
couple
index finger.
A good couple
maybe.
of inches.
They were just ridiculous. And they were loud and they had like a murderous, insidious agenda.
I don't think they had any murderous, insidious agenda.
Or they certainly seemed intent on ruining our weekend
but
by
they did
trying to gain access to the house. They were knocking on the windows and then they were in the house.
Well, the thing is that we dealt with one or two of them and got them out of the place.
There were loads more.
And then we went up to our bedroom to have a look, and there were like
4 of the bastards. What's the stink? So we were like chasing them around and trying to capture them in glasses, and then the next morning there was one in our room. So at 6 o'clock we were up trying to catch this bastard, and
because it was too hot not to sleep without the window open, so we'd kind of put the blind down.
These murder hornets.
So there was
and all
that.
weekend they just like stayed around.
Then on the Saturday, we did some cocktail making. We did some molecular cocktail making, which was good fun.
Very fun.
Then people drew you for some reason.
Oh, it was lovely. So Kiwi and Cherie from Sharon is Caring, she asked if she could draw me as a nude model.
There we go.
Which is really, really nice. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And then we had a little drawing contest. That was really, really fun little part of my day. And you were all swanning around in the pool.
Yep.
And then we had some lovely tapas.
We brought someone in to make the food.
Yeah.
And it was great. You got to watch Step Brothers in the evening.
Oh, it was lovely. I lay in this big movie room and we watched Step Brothers together. It was just a gorgeous weekend.
Perfect.
I felt so privileged and so special.
Do you know what? I got really choked up saying goodbye to people as they left on Sunday. I was really getting sad. I was to the point where I was just holding back. I was like really like lip wobbly.
There's me holding back my ears.
And holding back the tears. But it was just a really nice way to see in your 50s and to make you forget about all the sadness that you've had about the 50s and some of the stuff that's been going on lately. So a really
fabulous.
Good means of getting you into a nice space. And the reason why I wanted to mention this is just to really give you an overview, gentle listener, of, Mrs. H seems to be in a much happier spot at the moment. Dad is, touch wood and all that, settled in. We've not been to hospital for
Hanging
a while, which is
bit.
good. And you had some nice surprises and it just helped you get through some of that shitty time that we've been through.
Yeah.
So thank you for all the well wishes and all the happy birthdays.
Very, very loved and very, very, very grateful.
Yeah.
To have so much love in my life.
It was absolutely wonderful.
Very, very privileged.
We're going to go back a little bit in time now.
Okay. I was going to say, you're going to do some mad Scooby-Dooism because I can't.
Mad Scooby-Dooism.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind of.
okay. Rocky Froggy. So actually, like a couple of weeks ago, in fact, was it the weekend before your birthday?
It was.
It was indeed. Not that timing really matters, gentle listener. We could argue over the time over that for ages, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that we went on an adventure together. All right?
Just you
just
and I.
The two of us. We can make it if we try.
Yeah.
Just the two of us.
We're not used to this anymore.
Well, we haven't.
We normally have like a little entourage of wonderful people with us.
Well,
and we had to go alone.
Yeah, I mean, neither Secret Stag or Secret Vixen were with us, which was,
that's me.
It felt like our arms were missing a bit. But we went to Swindon Swingers Club.
We did.
By ourselves, randomly, because we had a spare evening. So we thought, we'll know what we'll do. We'll just rock up and see how it goes.
Yeah, it was just a real spur of the moment. Let's go. But we decided not to drink so we could drive back again.
Yeah, so we were able to have 2 drinks throughout the course of the evening, but we thought we'd just rock up, see what it's like, so we can report back to you and tell you what it's like, tell you about our experience, and also give you a bit of insight into sort of us two by ourselves, which I think we're really, really out of practice on. Like, fine at home, like just chatting and having sexy times together and doing our thing and going out from us, fine, but we haven't been to a club, just the two of us, for a long, long, long time. So we thought we'd jump in the car, and obviously my car, because the little pink Mario Mobile wasn't going to get us anywhere.
No. Although now's a good time to review the Magic Roundabout.
That was quite magic.
Absolutely the highlight of my Swindon visit.
Was it really?
I always wanted to see it.
Oh, okay. Now we've driven through it.
Twice.
That was slightly death trappy as far as I was
thought it was
concerned.
fascinating. It was like bloody 7 roundabouts in one roundabout.
Okay. So, well, let's not dwell too long on the roundabout because...
Well, you didn't. You had to drive over it.
I did.
Real quick.
Yeah, really quick. So let's talk a bit about the club. So it's in Swindon. It's in the sort of heart of Swindon. If Swindon has a heart, I'm sure it does. In the middle. So we'd gone onto the website.
Yeah.
And our first impression was a little bit difficult, I suppose, because we'd interacted a little bit with the club on Twitter every now and then. And they've always been very helpful, and we've retweeted some of their stuff and they've retweeted some of our stuff. But having gone onto the website, I struggled a little bit to kind of follow how it works.
I had a go as well.
And I think my first point was actually, it's not as clear as you'd like it to be. Now, we fed that back to them, so this won't come as any surprise. And they are working on it. The new website's coming at some point soon. And there are improvements that are going to be made.
Yeah. I mean, I went on there, funnily enough, specifically to find out the nearest car park.
Yeah.
Because I thought, they're bound to have an FAQ. And they did.
Yep.
And I looked up the FAQ and it had, is there parking at Swindon Swingers? I was like, brilliant. They thought of it.
Yep.
And it said, yes, there are car parks nearby.
Yes.
I was like, Damn it.
So I think
Could you just tell us which one?
so we did we went on the website and it's very much you can, I think, book your tickets in advance if you're like one of the VIP
Is there like
people.
an early bird?
There's an early bird kind of thing. Or you can just rock up on the door. And I think they want to be encouraging of lots of different people, lots of different sort of backgrounds and everything. Anyone can show up, pay the money on the door and come in. So we thought we'd do this. We drove up. Well, to be fair, there was a car park just a minute up the road, 2 minutes up the road.
And was this a pure night? Is that what the event was called that night?
Now you've got me.
I'm fairly sure it was called Pure
or Wicked or...
Oh, it was something like that because it had a little theme of...
I think it was Wicked because it
was... Wicked, that was it.
Because it was like a schoolgirl and Vickers type evening. But we weren't doing that. We hadn't had a chance to prep. This was just a jump in the car. Let's rock up. So we drive up there, park the car, and as we're walking down towards the club, we couldn't really see where it was.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I did remember as we got to near where it, sat nav said it should be, or my phone told me it should be, is there was a great big T out the front because during the weekdays, it's actually a gay sauna, as I understand it, and I think it's called Touch. So there is a big T for Touch out the front. So we were like, oh, this probably, we hope, is the place.
And we saw a few other people going towards
sort of that
area
direction who looked like they might be heading in this way.
Somewhere for a bit of a do.
Bit of a thing. So we kind of opened this door because there was nothing on the front. We just opened it. So we could have been walking into someone's house for all we know.
Maybe.
So we go in and we go through another set of doors and then go up some stairs. And you kind of instantly get the feeling that you're in a club. You know the feeling once you've been to a couple of them. It's kind of a bit, they all have a similar sort of vibe. And you go up some stairs and immediately on the left-hand side, there's a little sort of cubby hole.
Check-in desk.
A little check-in desk where you can pay for your entry and they give you keys to your locker. Mm-hmm. So the chap that opened, that was, well, sort of waiting there, welcomed us in. He recognised us, which was nice, which was cool. That was lovely. And to be fair, he gave a really, really warm welcome. And it was lovely. Yeah. And actually, it was the first time outside walking through that I'd been cold in a while. And I remember shaking his hands. I was like, he's warm. He's warm.
Yeah, it was a bit chilly, wasn't it?
It was. And he sort of welcomed us in, told us where to get tours if we wanted them from Gloria. That was cool. If we wanted those, and gave us a little bit of a rundown of where to go. We paid our money. So in terms of costs, it's not an expensive club by any stretch of the imagination. So I think it was like £45 for us, 45 squids, might have even been 35 quid.
And we didn't book in advance for anything, so that was on the door.
So it was very, very reasonable. I think single guys, depending on when they show up, it can be 35 to 45 quid. And it varies depending on, again, what time you show up, what night it is. And I think they have a limited number of single guys in at any time. I believe there are other nights when there are more in the place, but I think this one had a restriction or a limit on that. So as I said, from Monday to Thursday or Friday, it's like a gay sauna. And then at the weekends, it's often a swingers club, but not every weekend is it a swingers club. I think there's a kink event that goes on there. Then sometimes there's like a trans girl kind of thing. I think they do ladies only nights sometimes as well. So there's a whole variety of stuff. So it's great to be able to check in and go there. Yeah. But I would check the website to see what events are running before you do it. So anyway, welcomes us in. So as we go through another sort of set of doors, now I'm going to try and describe this place and then we're going to revisit each of these different areas and talk about them. So as you go in, you go through a little sort of passageway bit and there's toys on display that are for sale on the right-hand side, a little glass area.
I like that. I like those cabinets.
Yeah, they were cool, right? They look really nice. As you go through, on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of lockers so you can store your stuff. If you'd gone through and gone to the left, you'd have gone to the lounge sort of area, the bar, some toilets.
God, you've got good memory.
Now, so as you would have turned left, you'd immediately gone to the bar. If you'd have gone sort of left down a corridor, then it would have taken you to the sort of cinema, BDSM sort of area where there's like a viewing section. There's a couple of swings. Carrying on down the left-hand side, there's a whole bunch of little miniature rooms that you can play in and shut the door on, and that you can explore lots of different things there.
Okay.
Right. On the right-hand side is the diary room. As you're going further down this corridor, the diary room will come back to. Yeah. As you keep going down the space, right?
Yeah.
Then you come to some stairs. You can go up the stairs, and on the right-hand side, there's a sort of there is a sauna element, but I don't think they have that open for the swinger weekends. I think they keep them closed, but there's some toilets there, which is fine.
Yeah.
On the
we were
left
allowed to go and use the toilets.
you can use the toilets, yeah. And on the left-hand side, it takes you out to like the smoking area, an outdoor patio with loads of nice chairs, and it's a little bit quieter
There's
out
some
there.
little heaters out there
And some
as
little
well.
heaters and all that sort of stuff. Does that sound about right?
It does sound about right. I remember I kept getting lost, Castle Praise, because it is a little bit, if you go, they all sort of go round into different areas and then you eventually come back on yourself.
Yeah, so as in all the little playroom areas, there's kind of a little rat run of a loop that
right.
you can go through. And there's sort of, as you turn into that left-hand section, there's a kind of, there ends up being rooms on the left, rooms on the right and on the side. And there's like a pizza oven, as they called it, with Lady Glory Hole.
I learned a term.
You did learn a term.
I had no idea that's what they were called.
So
I remember where the toilets were.
just about. Let's talk about some of these rooms then.
Okay.
So let's start with the locker area was really clean.
Yeah, it was very good.
Plenty of lockers. You get a wristband. You put your key in.
Yeah.
Fine. No problems. That was good.
I'm trying to remember if there was a mirror there.
Might have been.
I think there might have been a mirror, maybe.
I imagine
Anyway.
there probably would have been. That much detail I've not got. I mean, I've
Yeah,
just
but we
described the
notice
whole
things
layout.
like this.
Okay. So the lounge area and the bar. How was that for you?
Okay. So the bar was quite small.
Yep.
A selection of things you could buy.
Mhm.
Great. Very reasonable prices.
So
So there was like some basic gins, tonics, a couple of beers on tap, I think, maybe. Wine, I suspect. We didn't, because we weren't drinking, we didn't really have anything other than one or two drinks, and that was it.
yeah, and I think they do like crisps and a couple of chocolate
we had a little
bars and
basket
stuff,
of snacks, which I thought was quite cute.
which is nice. What I would say is that, I mean, if the bar is it's very, very reasonable.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
The guys behind the bar were really helpful,
Yeah,
really friendly, and actually, what I would say is that whilst it's very reasonable, I wouldn't expect a huge selection of stuff there. That we're not talking about like large cocktail menus or anything like that. We're talking about your
like
basics.
that. When you're talking about a fully serviced bar, it didn't have such an extensive thing as that, but it did, I suspect, have the basic stuff like Prosecco and
Rum and Coke, and that sort of gin and tonic, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Perfectly
They're really
serviceable.
quick. In fact, the bar got busy, but they were just continuing to knock
But
them
it's
out and get
not a
them out.
bar that I would necessarily stand or sit at to converse, because it was quite small and I wouldn't want to be getting in the way of people trying to get there. So,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway. And then I think there was a couple of largish settees in a little sort of squared off area.
So far, so good.
And maybe a couple of big TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you'll come back to the TVs in a moment.
Yep.
Yeah. And there might have been a table over there as well, but that area was quite busy and we didn't go over there. And then to the sort of just behind the bar, there was a kind of quite a cool little area with some metal stools that you could perch on. Not particularly comfy chairs, I'll add, but little perching areas nonetheless, which are quite handy. And then a kind of like wooden sort of shelfy bar bit that ran around that in a little square. So you could put your drinks on the side.
Yeah, so a little sort of stalled area which sort of sectioned off. So you could have about 10 or 12 people stood around it or sitting down, but being able to rest their drinks and be able to talk without it being too bad.
And then I think there was a little table off to the left of us that was big enough for sort of two people maybe, just perched on the side.
So I think what I would say about the whole bar, it was really sweet and quite nicely
I liked
decorated.
It was nice. It had a big ball maybe hanging from the ceiling, if I remember, like a disco ball.
That much I don't
I think I
remember.
remember
There was
that.
lots of like glittery little bits there. I think it felt really nicely decorated. It felt comfy.
Yeah.
The music, and this is us getting older, was probably a bit loud for my liking. However, the soundtrack that was playing was really cool.
The music was good.
The music was really good.
It was just a little bit on the loud side for me because I often struggle anyway.
Well, I think
in big areas like that.
The trick is, though, if you've got loud music going on and you've got a bunch of people crammed in, you're always going to struggle. So, but it wasn't awful. You could just about have a conversation in there. But for me, it was a little bit of hard work, I think. But
we had to go upstairs a little bit sometimes, didn't we? Just to hear what we were
talking about.
Little bit of a sort of respite from the noise.
Yeah, but I think it was really comfy. It felt really good. Nice. It was nicely decorated. I enjoyed that little area. The sort of pawn platform area, we didn't really spend much time. In fact, we didn't actually play on the night, and we'll come onto that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all very clean. The equipment was well maintained. People seemed to be in there and enjoying it. And it seemed to be a popular choice. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the diary room. The diary room is based off of like the likes of Big Brother.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this room is that whatever you do in that room is being live streamed to the camera or to the television in the lounge area.
Yeah.
So you actually get to see what's going on. So if you're quite an extrovert and you like performing for people, it's a great spot to go in and do your thing. And everyone can watch. I don't think sound is streamed.
No, I know it's not. No, I remember them saying that.
Yeah, but you can actually see what's going on. And
yes.
I thought it was a really cool idea. I don't think I saw anybody in there, but equally I wasn't particularly looking out for it and being mindful of it.
No, I think a couple of times at the beginning I sort of wondered if there was anyone in there, but then it just kind of escaped me a bit.
Yeah. So there were a whole bunch of little sort of playrooms, some of them a bit bigger, some of them a bit smaller. They felt, to be fair, I think they're very functional. They're very sort of wipe down surface, on you go. Now, to me, they felt probably a little bit basic, if I'm being really honest.
Well, that was my observation as well. But I know I do like a little bit of flair sometimes about it. I don't like feeling like I'm in a place just to have sex.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's just a personal preference. Some people quite like, the fact that it's a kind of, oh, look, there's a room. We can go in there and then jobs are good done.
I think the thing for me was that the front room or lounge area room was really nicely done. The little porn viewing area was nicely done. And the diary room was really cool. And then some of the other rooms were a bit like, okay. They're absolutely functional. They look fine. They look clean. They're well maintained. I think it lacked a little bit of the flair that was around the rest of the club. Now, to be fair, if you're going in there with a group of you, you're probably not really going to give too much of a shit about the decor that's around the space.
I mean, you say that, but I do think it's probably more appealing if, you're kind of drawn in a little bit more. You'll probably feel more inclined maybe to have some sexy times if the room looks like a bit of fun.
Yeah, but also I'm very conscious that so we know that they're going to be doing lots of renovations and doing a lot of work on it. So things that they're very, very keen to improve it and keep improving it. But I'm also very aware that they have to cater to the gay sauna community for the rest of the time. In fact, the swingers bit is only a small chunk of, what they do. So I can understand why this, it's a fine balance to get right.
It is. I felt it was a little bit, I sometimes felt all the rooms were a little bit dark. And I understand sometimes you might want that, but also it was kind of like all of the rooms felt a little bit shrouded in.
Yeah, I think.
And because some of the decor was quite grey, black, smart, but grey and black, it was all very dark to me.
Yeah, I think the tricky bit is, I suppose, the last clubs that we went to were Fata Morgana and Fun for Two, where the rooms were a little bit more lively, a little bit more
colourful, probably.
Colourful. Well, not even colourful, but they were probably a little bit more sort of velvet and a little bit more sort of. They had a sense of seduction to them. I think not much, and all we're really talking
more
about
sultry.
is probably a little
erotic.
a little bit of paint and a little bit of decor and some slightly different lighting. And I think that's more than achievable. And I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of do go down more of that route. But
I will say it was very clean.
It was all
very serviceable,
very well maintained. And and honestly, I would suggest that service station rules apply in this one, because if you can go to a service station, well, no, it's like if you go with the right people, a service station is fun, and you can have a great time at a service station. And actually, I'd say the same is true of these playrooms. They're not awful. Not by any stretch. They're very comfortable.
It just didn't entice me in.
Yeah, and I think
aesthetically,
you could go in them
they
and you
didn't
could still have
appeal
a good time.
to me. That's all.
Okay.
I did like the display cabinets that were dotted around, and there were quite a few of them. I want to say maybe 3 big ones from memory. But I liked the way they were displayed, and I liked the products that were displayed inside. It was really nice to, as you were walking down some of the little corridors, you could stop and just like have a look in what's on the display cabinets. And I liked those.
So going up the stairs and going to obviously the sauna bit we couldn't really experience.
No.
But the outside area was really nice. It was really sweet. It's not massive, but actually, it was very nicely done, very nicely decked out, literally lots of decking, lots of nice little chairs. And because it was a bit quieter outside, it just made for much easier conversation for me.
It was a very popular little area as well.
It was, but I think
because there was no music up there, even when if it was busy, you could still hear because it was musicless.
And I think there was a sort of just a generally more chilled out atmosphere, and people were just hanging around, coming in, having a cigarette, and then going. We don't smoke, but it was nice just sitting out there, and
nice.
especially when there were so many people packed downstairs, because there were it felt like a lot of people in there. It was a nice breather being outside. So I think, having spoken to the folks there, they've got real sort of intentions on continuing to improve it. I know they've put a lot of work into getting it to where it is, and these are very early days. But actually, as a first crack, because that sounds like I'm really knocking them, but as an initial go, it feels like a nice little club. Like, honestly, I wouldn't have any qualms in recommending it. What I would say is on the night that we went, there wasn't really a dress code. And I don't know if this is something that's enforced or not, but actually there were, and one or two people were dressed up to the theme.
Yeah.
But a number of people just sort of rocked in with their casual, and probably a lot more casual than I'd like. It was very much like joggers.
I saw some
cut off denims. And it felt, and to be fair, a large chunk of the women had made effort, not all of them, but and we'd made a little bit of an effort, but it felt like a large chunk of the guys hadn't really made an effort on the particular night. Now that could be because it's a theme night. That could be because there's no enforced dress code for the thing, and that it's a very welcoming come to a club and enjoy yourself. But it feels like something's missing to me when people don't make that effort. But then equally, it could be a really good means of sort of sorting the wheat from the chaff for you. You could look around and go, right, if they've turned up to a sex club wearing jogging bottoms, then they're probably not for you.
I get that. I think it depends on what your intentions are when you go to a club. So for some of those people might have purely been going just to hang out, socialise, have a chat, see people that we know, but not with an intention of pulling, for want of a better phrase. It could be. And if it was your local club, then maybe you just get into the habit almost of going down your local and being quite relaxed. But I know what you mean. For me, if we're going on a night out and we're making the effort to go to a club and potentially, find people that we want to hang out with and connect with, then surely you want to make the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
maybe.
And I think that leads me into a little bit of the evening for us, and that we were sort of hanging around. And I think there's a couple of things at play here. One, that, the way people were dressed probably didn't help us sort of find connections in terms of, I know that probably sounds incredibly snooty and stuck up, but actually there is something about people making an effort that's quite important to me, and I think very important to you.
I like people to have had a go.
Yeah. to
making an effort.
At least have tried. So, but that wasn't everybody, but there was certainly
no, not at all.
There was certainly enough people in there for me to go, oh, okay. And that's absolutely fine. I think the other thing is that we are very, very, very out of practice in terms of talking to people. Now, having chatted to other friends about this, I know your thoughts, Mrs. H, are that, oh no, I totally made an effort and I talked to loads of people.
I did talk to people.
You didn't really. What you did is that if someone came and spoke to you briefly, you were like, oh, that, or said, oh, nice handbag. You've gone, that is me talking to someone. You've gone, oh, thank you. That in terms of your answer, that is your conversation.
Well, I might have talked back to them though.
But for 8 seconds doesn't count. I swear it can't count in terms of
so
us.
What's your definition?
So I think it's actually
talking to people,
going over, introducing ourselves and having a conversation for a couple of minutes. So we are rubbish at doing that. We are so out of practice. And it's interesting because we do that all the time at our own events, because that's what we've got to do in a way. But actually going up to people and going, hey, we're Simon and Carolyn or Mr. and Mrs. H or whatever we are that particular day, we don't do it because we're shit at it. And neither one of us wants to be brave enough to step out and do it.
Well, fortunately for us, some lovely people did just that and came over to us.
I would say safely that they were perhaps the most attractive couple
They were very lovely.
in the place. Certainly one of the most attractive couples in the place. I mean, I have to knock them back a couple of bits because I was one of the couples or part of the couples.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Yeah, but it was really nice. They came over and said hello to us, and then we ended up chatting to them for the whole night, pretty much.
So there's my point. Why do I need to then go, bye, I'm going to speak to some other people now, when actually I wanted to keep on talking to them all night?
Because we were there for a full 45 minutes.
And I had a great night talking to them.
45 minutes to an hour before they came over and said hello.
I was talking to you then.
Yeah, but only because you didn't want to. This is the thing.
That's not true. I was finding my feet.
No, you are notorious. Like, I'm bad, but you are notoriously bad at doing this. I think this stems from sort of youth for you, where you just sort of looked hot in a corner and people came to you, and you're like, "What? Why?" And you're like, now you're like, why isn't anyone coming to me? And I'm like, well, you have to go and talk to other people. And this goes right back to our early days where we were really shit at doing this then. Then we made friends slowly but surely, and then we go everywhere with friends, so we don't have to do this so much.
Well, if we made friends, we must be all right.
There we go. But we were quite bad, and I'm now thinking, shit, we've got Podcaster-palooza coming up in Miami soon.
Be fine.
Well, you say that.
Be fine.
We'll be fine. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I know at least 5 people that are going there, and I'm going to spend my time talking to them. So if you're one of those 5 people, congratulations. You are not going to be able to get rid of Mrs. H. Is this right? Is this vaguely true?
I like talking to people.
And how many of those have you met on the chat? Oh, none, because you're not on the chat.
Look, that chat and me do not gel, all right?
You've not even loaded it, have you?
No, I haven't.
There we go.
Because I just haven't got the bandwidth to fit that into my head right now.
So we do need to practice. Maybe we should just start walking around the streets on Saturday.
Just talking to random people.
Hello, I'd like to tell you about this great book of lifestyle. Would you like to join? All you need to do is put your keys in this bowl and you become an instant member.
My hand doesn't smell of chloroform. Don't worry.
So anyway, going back to it. So this wonderful couple came over and sat with us.
They did.
And
bloody lovely.
Chatted to them all night. They were lovely, really fun, talkative, and it was just great. Just because it's not that often that we meet new people or get to have a conversation that's longer than 5 minutes.
And we all got on really well. It's the thing we did. So.
Well, I assume so. I mean, they've probably deleted our profile now.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. Because we're shit
paranoid.
at it.
You're so paranoid, and you speak for yourself.
All right. Okay. So they probably deleted my half of the profile and kept yours because they're like, oh, we go to her. This is how it works now.
No, not true.
Not true at all.
You shouldn't be so paranoid.
No. So anyway, what was really one of the really good things about the whole club and the evening is that actually Swindon's not a million miles away from where we live.
No.
It's drivable.
An hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. It was very weird sort of driving back 1 a.m. or something and sort of just seeing all the foxes and all
eating
the other creatures.
Snacks.
Yeah. It was quite an interesting thing. And we've not done that for a long time. So, overall in terms of the club, I'd say it's a really good start.
Yeah.
I think they've got a little way to go to sort of adapt things and keep on improving them. But actually, I think they've made a really strong start.
So, nice club, buy some cushions.
And some throws. Yeah, that'll do.
Buy some throws for your couch.
I honestly thought that the folks running it were really welcoming. They did a really good job. They were really honest about where they feel that they are on the journey in terms of developing this stuff. And they've got a tough balancing act, so doing the gay sauna thing and then doing the swingers club and the kink club and all the other bits and bobs that go with it. So honestly, if you're in the area, I'd go and check it out. What I would say, it's not as big, for example, as something like Penthouse Playrooms or even Le Boudoir. It's not as sultry as some of those other ones.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that's missing for me. It's the erotic feel. And I don't mean sleazy. I mean...
Demure, sleazy.
I don't mean I want something to look like a sleazy fuck club. But something that is a bit softer and makes you feel like erotica.
I genuinely think that the diary room, the locker bit, the intro, the corridors or whatever, and the lounge area were absolutely fine. The porn viewing area is absolutely fine too. It is just the rooms. I think it's just the rooms and that little bit there. And I don't think it needs much to get it up to where you'd be comfortable with it, because ultimately, in most of these rooms, if you think about like the penthouse playrooms ones, the VA like sort of play areas, they are all much the same. They all contain a bed that's probably wiped clean and a bunch of stuff.
I completely agree that some of these things are essentials and probably non-negotiable in a club, and you need something that's functional and easy to clean and hygienic. And I get all that, but it doesn't have to be without personality and without a bit of fun, maybe.
And I get the sense that that's where they're going to be sort of taking a look at. As I said, it's not as big or as sensuous as some of the other clubs, but actually it is a bit smaller. But as that sort of gives it a little bit of a charm. It's a really fun little place.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with it. I really am. And I think they've done a great sort of little start. I don't mean that. It sounds so patronising. I don't mean to be. I genuinely had a nice night. I genuinely like the place. I really like the diary room idea. I think that's executed really nicely. So all this kind of stuff is fab. It's just the rest of it just needs a little bit of a tweak for me.
Yeah.
That said, I'd happily go back there.
Totally.
Happily go back with friends, and happily recommend it. And it definitely slips into one of my favourite clubs that we've been to in this country. Well, so, I'm not saying it's right at the top, but I think as a recommendation, I'd say, yeah, go for it. I would have no qualms in recommending it. Oh, the other thing I haven't mentioned actually is that you can pay by card there, which is nice.
Excellent.
Which is good to know. You don't want to be just trifling out your wads of cash like some weirdo.
Did you need to show ID?
Did we need to show ID? I don't think we did, did we? No. There we go.
So I took one with me, thinking, I'm bound to have to show it, and I didn't have to show it.
No, I think they cover some of this on the website. It is very much you're welcome into the club. Equally, we are a little bit of a known quantity. So I think, there's enough pictures of us and stuff around. So people know
you don't need your identification.
You don't need to see my identification. These are the droids you're looking for.
I knew it. You used the Force on them.
I did use the Force on them.
Did a dirty Jedi mind trick.
A dirty Jedi mind trick.
I mean, your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me.
That sounds like a great cocktail, the dirty Jedi mind trick. It's a lot harder to say than you anticipate.
Or wouldn't you rather have a cocktail like Salacious Crumb or something?
Salacious Crumb?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Ready? The Utini.
Oh.
Yeah. What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say Salacious Cum.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to go near that.
Your dirty Jedi mind trick bar that you're going to have in your club.
Star Wars themed cocktails.
Of course.
Yeah, okay, right.
I mean, prices lows we can come up with, surely. Jab of a slut. Anyway.
Oh, that was, scraping the barrel already, and we've only 3 cocktails in. Terrible situation. So if you get the chance to check out Swindon Swingers Club, I think the website is swindonswingers.com. Mm-hmm. Go and have a look. Go and see them. I think they've got a whole host of different events, but check the website before you go to make sure that you're able to access the club and see what sort of night it's going to be, because they do a mixture of stuff.
Yoda the one for me. That's another
Yoda
drink.
One for me.
That's another drink.
Yoda one for me.
That's the one. Yoda one for me.
Not Yoda the one.
Yoda.
Hang on.
Yoda one. What did I say? Yoda the one.
Mango Fett.
These are great. I'm going to make a list of all the Star Wars themed drinks we're going to sell.
You could have a cross pirate one. You can have a Grogu.
Oh, a little baby Yoda one. Maybe like baby Guinness.
Oh dear. All right. Anyway, let's close this thing down before we.
I'm on a roll now.
No, you're really not.
I really am.
You're really not. If you've got a Star Wars based cocktail that you'd like to share with us, please send it to Mrs. H, where she will not reply and probably not read it.
Darth Vapor.
No, that's.
Well, that would be one of those molecular cocktails, right? With like something on it that smokes. Like when you get those weird bubbles that they put on top of a cocktail and then it's got smoke in it.
Okay, good. It's one where you have trouble breathing. Good. So yes,
it's been a really long day.
I know it has. As we said before, the Winter Wonderland tickets are 50% sold out, maybe even more than that now. So if you're looking to come along, get your tickets. If you've got questions, drop us a message. Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone who helped Mrs. H celebrate her birthday. So if you were able to come along and you were there helping her, thank you. That was amazing. You are incredible. Special thanks to Kate and Daryl for their wonderful birthday surprises. And also thank you to everybody, and there was a lot of people, so I'm not going to reel them all, that wished you a happy birthday.
Yeah.
That was absolutely incredible.
You're loved.
Yeah. So
And old.
Old
Am I
love.
different now? I'm 50.
You've just become so much more moany about everything.
You're moany.
You're moany. Anyways, Mrs. H, do you want to do your thing?
Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Got any more Star Wars cocktails?
God. Oh my Christ.
Ewokachino.
Oh, that's more of a coffee one, right? Or is that an espresso martini type thing?
Yeah, I think it would be. Full of yub-nub.
What was the one that you just said?
You need a bib for tuna.
There has to be a Boba Fett.
Slave
one.
and Leia. Said mango fett.
You said mango fat.
Boba
You
tea
too, yeah.
fat?
Boba tea. Yes, that would work. That would work. Absolutely. There must be a C3PO based
The
one.
rank-hunted.
Oh my God. I can't think of any more.
CP30.
See,
CP30. I've mixed it around. So I don't know.
see who did that.
Yeah, this is good. Any others that you want to throw into the mix now you've got the opportunity?
No, I'm going to think about it properly because I think I'm just going to reel out shit stuff now.
Yeah, it's just scraping the bottom of the barrel. Just like, what sounds like Ahsoka? The Obi-Wan, Kenobi, the Luke Skydrinker, Straw Killer,
Oh my God.
the hand job solo. I don't even know what it is. Monkey tennis.